Well, today I've had an MR2 in that's been stood around for quite some time. It came to me as a non-runner. That's why I'm stuck outside in the dark, in the winter, in the cold. It had been diagnosed as a fuel pump, and it was diagnosed correctly. What happens is, when a car's stood for too long, the fuel pump the fuel can dry up. If it's not got a full tank of fuel, the fuel can dry up and gum up and cause deposits on the brushes. And on an MR2, well, normally what I do is take the pump out, spin it manually, and that cleans up the brushes and they run fine after that. You don't need to replace them. But on the MR2, you've got to take the tank off because it's under the tunnel somewhere under here. You can get access to the sender unit under the radio there, but no pump. But you can get at the wires for the pump. Now I was racking my brains to try and think of a way to do this without taking the tank off, because it's a fairly big job. You've got to drain all the water pipes, I think, and I didn't want to do that if I didn't have to. But if it had to be done, it would have been done. But regardless, I was trying to think of ways of doing it. I was thinking of mechanical ways, like removing the pipes and using compressed air in the pipes to try and shock it free like that. As it turns out, that probably wouldn't have worked, not easily anyway. I measured the resistance on the pump, by the way, and it was 15 mega ohms, so almost open circuit, but not quite, and crucially not quite. And then I was thinking, well, maybe if I can zap it with like a spark or something, you know, from a lighter maybe. And then I was thinking, well, I've got a TIG welder, that would probably fry it, but maybe just use the high frequency start. That might work if I didn't put the earth on, because I was thinking if I could get an arc formed, then the arc will conduct electricity because it's plasma. And if I had 12 volt supply to it while there was an arc formed, that would possibly be enough to kickstart the pump and get it turning. But I thought I figured that would just fry the pump, to be honest. And then I found an old pump which had suffered a similar fate. Been sat on the shelf for too long. The fuel had dried up. It was out of an old Integra, I believe, a DA. And bench tested it with my bench power supply, and it kicked into action straight away. So I was like, oh well, that's not really helped. But then I thought, hang on a minute, this bench supply goes up to 32 volts nearly. It's a 30 volt supply. I thought, I'll take that out to the car. So I've got a big long extension lead running all the way from the workshop, and I tried it, and I came up to the car and it was actually reading 5 kilo ohms instead of 15 mega ohms. So something had happened while it's been sat. But either way, I put the power supply on, nothing happened. Turned it up to 30 because I figured if it has to come out, it has to come out. I can replace it if it needs it. But if I can get away with not doing it, then I will. But so charged it up at 30 and nothing happened. So I thought, I'll just reverse the terminal, see what happens. And I tried it at reversed and turned it all the way up to 30 again, slowly. And I heard a little clunk. And I thought, oh. And then I checked the resistance, and the resistance was back up to 15 mega ohms. I was like, what's happened? But then I realised the pump must have moved slightly and gone on to a more gummed up bit. So I kept reversing and putting it forwards, and reversing it, putting it forwards, going up to 30 volts and back down, trying to pulse it. And eventually I could hear it start to turn, slowly at first. So I put it on the forwards. I think I'd already had it on forwards, by the way, anyway. And the power supply was getting current limited. 5 amps I think I'd had it set as, because that should be enough for a pump like this, but or somewhere near. So I turned up the current a bit, and it was going quite high, and I thought, I'm going to break this here. And it got up to about 10 amps. So a cheaper power supply, a smaller one, wouldn't have done it. But yeah, 10 amps, and I think I'd turned the voltage down at that point because I could hear it starting to turn. And the 10 amps, yeah, it started turning properly, not just clunking, and it kicked into life. And you probably can't hear this, but I can, it's spinning like normal now, taking 5.6 amps at 13.8 volts. Car's fixed, and I didn't even have to jack it up. Excellent. And the moment of truth, I'm going to try starting it. First time. Right, that one can get collected now.